somehow he manages to keep it out of the wall on the exit of 5. Caught him out completely. I'm surprised Jacques has gone for this risk, because he's never really been on top of this car through winter testing or at this Grand Prix so far. Now he knows he's got to go through all that again. That was his out lap. He's now got the hot lap to do. But will he get enough tyre temperature confidence and grip to nail it? He's got no choice now. He's got to go for it.
Well, we all remember the first time we came here to Albert Park in 1996. Jacques Villeneuve then, in his first season, in his first Grand Prix with the Williams team, as teammate to Damon Hill, stuck it on pole position and very nearly won his first Grand Prix, but for a problem with the oil system. He finished second that day, and today he has decided to be bold. He's the first one on these dry tyres. We've already seen him get caught out once. What is going to happen here?
This is turn 4. So then the wetter patch coming up in 5, he'll just have to tippy-toe around it. He gets away with it. He's got enough tyre temperature this time. I think he just wasn't ready for it on the outlap. Probably not paying enough attention, but surprisingly then slower than Jarno Trulli's Toyota. So that gamble not paying off at the moment. But I think he can start letting that car go now. Second half of the lap looks drier.
Yeah, the second half of the lap is faster, and that's certainly going to count for something with these dry tyres. Villeneuve then onto the back straight and picking up the pace. The long left-hand, 180 miles an hour, coming down into the fast chicane. About 120 miles an hour on the exit. And so far, you can see how bone dry it is in parts on this track now. He's trying to find those places, trying to look for where the rubber is. Of course, a lot of the rubber has been washed off the racetrack. These new 2005 specification tyres that must last an entire Grand Prix distance, as well as the 2 qualifying sessions. They're very hard. They're not really putting rubber down. You can see he's run a little bit wide there through 15. And there isn't much grip out there at the moment for the grooved dry tyre.
He's going to go, what, third then, or something like that. Over the line he goes, and third indeed it is. So it kind of worked out for Jacques Villeneuve. Fisichella's on track already. I don't know what tyres, which tyres he's on, whether it's a slow in lap. They want to pull things down. That car goes into Parc Fermé, and they cannot change the settings. They can refuel it for tomorrow's qualifying, tomorrow morning's qualifying. Ted, what news can you tell us?
Fisichella also on the slick tyres, Martin. I think it's a safer bet for Renault, because this car, as we've seen in winter testing, has bags of downforce, and this will stick it to the track a bit better, make the slicks work better for Renault than they did for Sauber.
Yeah, a big black cloud coming over. Maybe the one we were told was coming through at 140. It's 6 minutes away, and the sky is darkening. Truly could be just in the sweet spot here, and Fisichella could be in the sweet spot. He's 0.4 of a second up, and Jacques is cruising back to the pits. He will be well out of the way, though.
Well, opportunity knocks for Giancarlo Fisichella. If there is rain coming in, it's going to really pulverise the McLarens and his teammate Fernando Alonso, who comes up later on. Fisichella out at the right moment then to make the changeover onto the grooved tyres, and this guy is carrying so much confidence. Coming back to the Renault team, half a second up on Jarno Trulli. 32 years of age now, Giancarlo Fisichella. And well, he's been knocked around from pillar to post in his Formula 1 career. Never truly considered a front-running star driver. Won that one Grand Prix for Jordan a couple of years back. But this is his chance now. Everyone thinks Renault will be in the title hunt, along with McLaren and Ferrari. And maybe right here today, he gets his first chance to take a step forward. Here he comes then, out of 16, plants the throttle. The Renault engine pushing him across the line. This is going to be provisional pole by 2 seconds for Giancarlo Fisichella, 1:33.1. And the wind is really getting up here now at Albert Park. And it's getting darker, the sun has gone in. And that might just have been the right moment.
This, I think, is... that's Villeneuve on his in-lap. That's why he was travelling so slowly. That's bizarre. Obviously, at low speed, your tyres cool down quickly, and you've got very little downforce. And it's raining like crazy. And Fisichella has just popped it in absolutely beautifully. The car was totally bolted to the ground. And now Massa has got to go on the attack, and we know it's raining hard, and he's going to have to absolute tiptoe around, otherwise he's going to be in the gravel trap down at turn 1. You've got to get out of it now, my friend. You'll never slow it down. And that's a disaster for him. Just keeps it off the grass, and Massa badly caught out. As lucky as Fisichella was, poor old Massa is totally unlucky, and all he can do is carry on.
It's raining heavily, be careful.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's a surprise.
You don't say, Sherlock. I think Massa's probably noticed that, and he is having to be very, very careful. You can see that he's on the grooved dry tyres, and that's absolutely not the tyre to be on. Hopefully, Michael Schumacher, I think, obviously will have had the time to put full wet tyres on. He's just gone out onto the track, and so he will have gone out on the wet tyre. But Massa, well, it's Christmas Day for Fisichella, and it's dog days for Felipe Massa.
We think Schumacher crept onto him. He's 27 seconds down in the first sector. Remember, aggregate timing. So his lap tomorrow will start with today's lap time. So he's got to finish it. He's got to get through it, otherwise he's at the back of the grid anyway. We are going to see such a topsy-turvy grid. Great news for this 2005 Melbourne Grand Prix. And Massa can only pot around. You cannot believe how pathetic that feels in what is usually a beautiful piece of machinery to drive. It just has no grip whatsoever. It's like just driving on ice with a bit of oil thrown in for good measure. Ted.
At Ferrari, Martin, Michael Schumacher went out on the intermediate Bridgestone, not the full wet. The full wet has very deep tread blocks, but we've seen, haven't we, that this Bridgestone, the intermediate one, works very well in sort of mid to fairly wet conditions. But I tell you what, when they made that decision, Ferrari, it was only a middle sort of wet condition. It was not the massive monsoon rain that's hit the pit lane since the minute and a half since they made that decision. So bad timing again for Ferrari. Schumacher on the intermediate.
Yeah, the interesting thing, the first time we've ever seen this, is Massa has a pathetic 10-mile-an-hour slide, poor guy, is that Massa's still on his hot lap, remember? It's been overtaken by Michael Schumacher, who's on his out lap for the next run. That's how much time poor old Massa's losing. He's taken a minute for the middle sector. I think Michael will get away with these tyres, though. There's not enough standing water to bother him at the moment, but then certainly not ideal.
Well, just looking at his outlap, and Michael Schumacher will have tried to find the grip and find the limit. He was about 4 seconds slower in the middle sector and about 10 seconds slower in the final sector than the current provisional pole sitter, Giancarlo Fisichella. So best case scenario for Schumacher, he's going to be 10, 11, 12 seconds off the pole pace. And if you, as Martin was saying, it's a cumulative lap time that makes for pole position after tomorrow's second qualifying session. And that means that Michael Schumacher is undoubtedly going to be behind Fisichella, Trulli, Webber, Villeneuve, Klein, Coulthard, Heidfeld, Button. Jenson Button, I mean, we all thought he was going to be in trouble on a drying track. He could end up not in too bad a slot. Anybody that comes out now is really in trouble. Look at that already, almost 10 seconds behind after just one sector. The rain still falling hard here at Albert Park and turning everything on its head.
Just as we thought Michael Schumacher could walk on water, he can barely keep it on the road in a straight line. Now it's raining too much for those tyres, and it's just not clearing the water away. Aquaplaning floating along the top of the racetrack. And Schumi's got his hands full just to finish the lap now. You're okay as soon as you can build up speed. The downforce pushes the car into the track, but then you can't slow it down when you get there. 17 seconds adrift. We've got a bit of somebody's gone off. Somebody has gone off? Is it Massa trying to get back to the pits? No, it's not. It's Sato on his out lap. So Sato will not complete a time today. He has thrown it in the wall, and that hurts, and that's a mess too.
Certainly his right front corner totally knocked off, and that car will have to be recovered before Ralf Schumacher, I imagine, is allowed out onto the track. He is the 16th man to go here this afternoon, out of 20 for first qualifying. Schumacher has played it safe. He comes out of the final corner. This is going to be around the fringes of 2 minutes for Michael Schumacher, and that puts him right down in 13th place at the moment. Felipe Massa didn't complete his lap. He came into the pit lane, so he's down in 14th. Obviously, Sato has dropped it out on the circuit. And, well, the Ferrari mechanics applauding Michael Schumacher's effort to get round in 1 minute 57. We've got a red flag, though, here at the moment. They're going to suspend this session while they clear up the car of Takuma Sato.
Yeah, so Sato's been testing out his car, his tyres in the racetrack on the out lap, and found out didn't have enough grip. He's obviously run out of talent somewhere around there, and when he most needed it, and it's that sweeping right-hander of turn 8. And yes, that's hard into the wall. Let's hope he's not done the chassis on that. So often those front wishbones there, the wishbones on the front suspension, when you hit like that, or the push rod itself, can just plunge into the side of the monocoque and give the mechanics more than a tough time fixing it.
Yeah, so far away from home, you don't really want to have to go down to just 2 chassis, do you? They always carry a spare with them, and they can build up if needs be, if the monocoque is damaged. But as I say, being so far away, it's not as if you could fly one out overnight. Next race in Malaysia in 2 weeks' time, they could do something for that. But anyway, Sato jumping on the back of one of the Marshall's motorbikes to bring him back, and he'll be feeling a bit foolish, I think, as he comes back.
How sick are McLaren going to be feeling? They've got Raikkonen running last but one, and Montoya, who won the last Grand Prix of last year for Williams, ironically, moved to them, and he runs last of all. The sun is now shining, so we'll have to wait to see how that affects the racetrack. Still a way to go yet. Yeah, they're going to be feeling sick, particularly because Giancarlo Fisichella in the Renault is the fastest man out there. He's provisionally on pole position, and unless he does anything ridiculous tomorrow, he's almost certain to start Sunday's Grand Prix from pole. Michael Schumacher is going to be down in 13th place on the grid. Maybe he can improve on that, but probably not. He's so far behind. It was 1 minute 57 lap time. So how much will the track dry out? Probably not all that much. Raikkonen and Montoya will be keeping an eye on their rivals and feeling a bit sick at the moment.